We're pleased to welcome now the mayor of Tupelo, Todd Jordan. Mr. Mayor, always good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you having me, Gerard. Thanks for being here in Tupelo at this wonderful event.
Yeah. This is actually the first time I've been in the facility, I got to tell you. This is fantastic.
It is. You know, this facility opened about 3.5 years ago, and, you know, it really complements the arena. We were getting to a point to where there's just so much you can have in a big arena, so we needed something to complement that. And now what we can do is we can have like cheer competitions in the arena, and then they can come over here to the conference center and have meals and their award ceremonies and things like that. So it's a big compliment. I believe last month our arena director said there was only 3 days that we didn't have an event at this facility.
The hotels and restaurants got to love that. I mean, that's a driver of economic activity, is it not?
It sure is. You know, 2 years ago we had a Mennonite conference here that had 12,000 people for about 2 weeks.
You and I talked right before that happened. I remember that.
I mean, you don't think of things like that as a conference being somewhere 2 weeks. When you look at, you can't get a hotel room, and even though they served a lot of food here, even the restaurants were full.
Sure.
So it's just a driver for our economy.
Well, that's outstanding. So just driving around, I've been up a couple of other times this year for some speaking engagements and other events. It appears to me Tupelo's thriving, as it always has been.
We sure are, and I think every time we talk, I tell you, there's more construction going on now than ever before, and it's no different. I mean, right to the west of us, about a block, we have our new open-air farmers market facility in downtown, venue going in. Just west of there, another block, Public Service Commissioner Chris Brown is redoing a hotel, make it a 10-room themed boutique hotel.
How about that?
And you'll see the steel. And then, you know, on the west side of town, Ballard Park, we've already got the entrance and the new parking lot. And we've selected our playground designer. We're building a $2 million all-inclusive playground at that facility. So, you know, we've got a lot going on in the city of Tupelo.
That's awesome. How's your revenue been?
We were pretty much flat this year. Of course, we knew that we couldn't keep up our record pace, and I think we were up this year sales tax about 0.5%.
Okay.
So, and that includes being down about 2 weeks in January for an ice storm. So we were okay with where we were.
Yeah. Well, I think that's fairly consistent with the rest of the state. I'm sure you've talked to many of your peers running municipalities as well.
I have, and we had a reassessment year, and our property assessments took a big jump this year, so that helped us in our general fund also.
Okay. So you just reassess. You didn't increase the millage.
That's right, just reassessment, county reassessment.
Okay. How often do you do that?
Every 10 years.
Every 10 years. Okay. Well, it makes sense that likely has risen.
And I guess that comes off the back of a new census.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. I got you. Well, what any sort of economic development projects on the boards that you can at least share with us at this point?
Well, of course, you know, the Lee Berry Corporation that the state helped us get to the hive out there. And, you know, even though that's in the county, it's in the city school district, and also we provide sewer and water to that area, so that'll help us. I don't think it's a secret anymore since Target has put in for a site application that we are looking at a Target. That will be a huge economic boost for us. There are still some things through MEMA and FEMA we have to jump through the flood zone area, but if it doesn't happen, it's not because Target or the city of Tupelo doesn't want it to happen.
What about your organizational structure? I know that the last time you and I talked, all honestly municipal leaders seem to be looking for workers. Are you doing good there?
We are pretty good, especially in our police and fire, which a lot of people are having an issue with. Yeah. It seems like we'll be full going into a academy season, and then a couple won't make it through the academy or just say, hey, this is not the profession that I want to be in, which is understandable. I think we're only a couple down there, our police department and our fire department. We're very young in our fire. You know, we've had a couple of turnovers the last few years, and it's kind of we're in that cycle. A lot of the guys are retiring, and we're really young. But, you know, I very impressed with Brad Robinson, our fire chief. We are getting a lot of our firemen up to EMT status where they when they get on the scene, they can do a certain amount of medical for that because they're the first ones on the scene. Our response time is less than 4 minutes to any accident.
Wow. What sort of challenges are on your table, your desk right now, I guess?
You know, I think as you look at the city as a whole, I believe it looks good, but we have, and everybody goes through this, we have some neighborhoods that need some revitalization. We have a neighborhood development corporation that helps us with that, but we have some others that, and like a lot of municipality, county, we're getting too much of a separation between our upper class and lower class, and we need some of our neighborhoods to go in and help our contractors revitalize those where we can have young professionals and middle-income families afford those houses.
Gotcha. What about tax reform being discussed down there at the legislature? Do you have any thoughts about have you heard anything from any members of the legislature that have come to you and said, hey, Mayor, what do you think about doing this and that and the other?
You know, I listen a lot, and the way I take it, Gerard, and I've heard you understand, if you take something away, then you're going to take something away from the cities. I mean, I know the grocery tax is a big deal, but I'm concerned, and I have heard from a lot of these smaller communities that only may have one grocery store. What's it going to do to them? And I guess only time will tell, but you know, any time that you take away a tax, it's going to hurt somebody in the long run.
Well, there's been some discussion of perhaps just ending the current model where sales tax revenues are diverted, 18.5%, I think it is, that goes back to the municipalities where the transaction occurred. The state retains the remainder. Been some discussion about just eliminating that structure and just giving full authority to the municipalities to just layer on sales taxes as they see fit. Is that something you think would work?
Well, we have three. We have three local option sales tax.
Okay.
We have our tourism tax, which is 2%, and that brings in about $6 million a year.
And where's that levied?
That is on hotels and prepared foods.
Okay.
So hotels and restaurants and prepared foods.
Okay.
We also have a 0.25% water tax that was started back in the 90s. And also we have our 10 mills that we vote on to put on our major thoroughfare program, which is new roads. All of three of those local options have been successful. So I believe with the city of Tupelo, that model, if we ever needed to go to something else, they would look at all three of those and say, look, those have been successful, so I believe that the city is putting that money in the right place, and maybe we ought to look at other things.
Okay. Well, there's some discussion. I mean, there are lots of options, as you well know, that are being discussed and put on the table. Not really sure what results from that, but I think we might see some action in the next session.
Well, I you know, it's kind of one of those, it needs to be done now or not at all. And I think there were so many big-ticket items last year in the legislative session, there was no way to get them all done. But maybe they got a little bit of headway on all of them.
And, of course, we got the Public Employees Retirement System. You know, I can't miss out on an opportunity to talk about that, something that I've spoken about a lot, written about. But that's kind of out there that needs to be addressed.
It is. And, you know, it's kind of one of those things that what's the best avenue forward? Or do we even know? Is there something they're going to say, well, let's just try something? And I don't know if you just want to try something with the ones that are already in the retirement system.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That would be, I think, risky. But no doubt it's going to get attention again.
It's going to get attention, and maybe it's one of those we can graduate to something over time if we find something that may be good in the long run. And, of course, our CFO is on the board, and we have two others in Lee County that are on the board.
That's right, yeah.
They're like, hey, we're doing what we've been asked to do, so if we need to do something different, let us know what we need to do.
Makes sense. Your counterpart, Mayor Lynn Spruill of Starkville, on the program a couple of weeks ago, we hosted a remote there. She indicated that she could support an increase in the employee contribution rate.
You know, the problem, Gerard, is we lose a lot of employees to the private sector anyway.
Sure.
We have a hard time keeping. 2 years ago, we raised our minimum wage to $15 an hour, and we're doing okay. But if we ask them to pay more, then we're going to
run them off.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a popular position, and I was a little surprised, frankly, when the mayor indicated that. But these are the kinds of things I think we're all going to be talking about when they get back in session. These will be front and center again. No
I believe
doubt.
so.
Mayor, thank you for coming on, sir, and great job here in the city of Tupelo. And I think this is going to be a fantastic event. You certainly, I know you are, should be proud of this.
Thank you. I am, and always glad to be on.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot. Mayor Todd Jordan from the city of Tupelo has been our guest. We're going to step aside for a break. Coming right back, the Element Wealth Studio has been relocated to Tupelo, Mississippi for the Digital Innovation Conference.